The double trouble of double game weeks now finally being done to now what is probably arguably the penultimate blank game week of the season. Are managers bound to free hit or not? This could probably present a golden time. Welcome to yet again another edition from what is probably my 14th bedroom this season. It being the FPL Addicts podcast. The beauty in imperfection or managers soul searching for desperation. Nonetheless, you've come to the right place for not only an absolute laugh, because that's what we're all about, but also a helping hand into their sides and giving us our best input as per usual. And, of course, like I am every week, I am joined by the beloved Scouser who, come 48 hours' time, he might be witnessing alongside many Merseyside Liverpool fans their second title win in 5 seasons. It is the usual FPL Reidy. Hello and good evening.
Good evening, Chaza, and I hope you're correct about Sunday. And only needing the point. Surely we can get that against Spurs. But yeah, what can I say? Not many people probably expect their team to be winning the Premier League title with so many games to go, but here we are, and here we are tonight, mate, to discuss the coming game week, 34 blank game week of the season. And I'm sure we'll get our teeth stuck into the previous game week, double game week 33. So, yeah, mate, good to be back on with you, and I guess we can crack on.
How was your week off? Because I know you didn't feature on last week's pod. It was probably the first time in a good while, getting a much-deserved break as well.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, it's a bit of a weird one because, I mean, we've had Easter, but it's kind of like, obviously, you coming from Australia, a little bit later, kids are off and stuff, and, we have a long bank holiday weekend, things like that. And the game week itself, obviously, the last game was Arsenal v Palace on the Wednesday. So it was nice, enjoyed it. But, I'll be disappointed when the season ends, because then you sat around going, all right, maybe I've got a bit more time on my hands, but there's no football. So definitely enjoy it when the football's on. That's for sure, matey. But yeah, it was decent. What about yourself? I know you've been a busy man, right?
Oh, yeah, tell me about it. So, as I said, I'm not even joking. I'm in someone else's bedroom, unsurprisingly, doing a podcast. I've had to house crash once again because we're making our umpiring debut as the one and only boundary umpire in the AFL London competition. So I cannot wait to get rinsed at quarter time tomorrow, which is the West London Wildcats against the North London Lions. And then, what is it? Yeah, I had a job interview for football-related job, which went really well. But also, now, if you want to hear some wild storylines, I won't mention his name, but I got asked by a third-year university student in Bath to help him out with his dissertation on customer engagement and brand loyalty and the effectiveness of Premier League and Fantasy Premier League, which I think is a bit wild. Like, I should be waiting another 10 years to be called up by uni students for their assignment, but this early on, I was never, ever expecting it in a million years. I felt honoured and I had a really good conversation, but some of the questions, I won't lie, were so complex. I ran out of gas by 10 o'clock in the morning. Usually people would be full of it.
Well, mate, it's not every day that you get uni students asking for, whether it be advice or help with FPL or dissertations. So, I mean, clearly this guy had put all his faith and really must have relied on you. So, fair play, mate. I'm sure you didn't turn him down, and best of luck to whoever the guy is, with his dissertation. Hopefully, you've come through for him.
Yeah, that's correct. So now it's time for our usual dissertation on our own fantasy team. Speak of a lovely segue there. And that is onto our league. Reidy, you had a marvellous week as per usual, or would you like me to go first? It's entirely up to you.
Well, I'm just having a look here. I mean, points-wise, I had a marvellous week. I mean, listen, save the best till last, as they say. So go for me, because I ended up on 83. I did take a -8, and I kept my faith in Henderson. That double Palace defence, even though they've had an absolute terrible time lately in terms of fixtures and losses. But yeah, I got the clean sheet, albeit to Bournemouth, and Palace were down to 10 men, 45 minutes to go. I thought, it's clean sheet's gone, surely. But he managed to keep it, and Henderson got a 9-pointer. Muniz got his 5 points. And that was thank you and good night from me in regards to Palace defence. So I got what I wanted out of the 2 games. I knew Arsenal would probably result in them conceding and stuff, which seemed to be the case. Timber missed out on the first game. Bit of rotation going on there against Ipswich. He did get an assist in the second game, though. So beggars can't be choosers. I'll take that, albeit a clean sheet would have obviously been nice. Guardiola, clean sheet. Was it away against Everton? 2-0,
Yeah.
I think. They got the clean sheet. So, yeah, I mean, a few of these players, obviously, I know a lot of managers own, but, 6 points for that first game and then his 1 point in the next. Midfield, now, disappointing in terms of Salah. Obviously, Leicester. And I feel like it's like his bogey team, Chaza. I mean, I remember a couple of seasons ago, he had a penalty against Leicester. Can't remember if he come back from AFCON or whatever. And I think a lot of people had captained him and he missed the penalty. He just had chances, didn't put them away. And I went with captain on Saka, which we know that panned out. 4 points, 2 points each game. Absolute nightmare, mate. Absolute nightmare. The hit that I did was Saka, was one of them. The other one was Rashford. Now, you're clapping, Chaza. However, just go to the week before for me a second, to game week 32. Who do you notice in that midfield?
Ryan and Bumo.
Now, click on info.
18
He ended up with 18-pointer. I took him out for Marcus Rashford for a -4, and I got 9 points from Rashford, but still, technically, it was less. So it wasn't the best. Obviously, I was happy Rashford got the return against City. It kind of softened the blow a bit. So fast forward again to 33 for me, and it was much of the same in terms of forwards. Everyone seemed to have Mateta, Isak, Marmoush, Isak with the blank. And I suppose the best thing to cap it off, really, was probably Arteta with the 17-pointer. He got me the 11-pointer, I think. Was it 11 for the first game? 12, in fact. 12 for the first game against Ipswich. And then his 5-pointer against Palace. So that was me all out. 83. Well, technically 75.
Nice one, Reidy. Yeah, I really like your Arteta shout from you. You had a really good run on the assistant managership, won't lie. So great job. Right. The second time this season, for those who've tuned in, my 105-pointer, we'll get to your questions very shortly. What a week. It was brilliant. Superb. Jeez, I didn't actually realise. A game week rate of 47k. Now, this was so good because we made 6 transfers, -4. Speaking of effectiveness, everyone, let's have a look at the list. Let's say that. Everyone got a clean sheet at some stage. 6 goals conceded. Marino got an assist, didn't turn up second game. Bowen goal. Eze goal. Salah been I don't know, on the downwards as of recently. Ollie Watkins with a goal and assist. Mateta goal. What a goal that was, actually, as an equaliser. And the bench boost, it probably wasn't the most best performed through the course of the season, but considering it was 19 points, yeah, you take it. It was actually performed quite well.
Yeah, you would take that, Chaza. I mean, the fact that is bonkers, isn't it, right? That, you've made 6 transfers. You had 5 free transfers, right? which you don't see very often in FPL when you see people who've got big scores, or just generally when you're looking, at what scores people have got at the back end of the game week. And the fact that you've made 6 transfers, one being Ruben Diaz, the other one Watkins. Did you bring in Bowen as one of your transfers or not?
No, I didn't. So I've got the analysis here. The transfers, this included a -4 hit. It made up for 26 points from last week's team. So actually turned out really, really well. Wow. The only player who did return that I took out was Howson from Bournemouth in a 0-0 draw. But went quite well.
It went pretty well, mate. Yeah, really well. So pleased with that. I mean, the -4 takes you to 101, but it's still over the 100. So smashed it, mate.
So that's the case for our sides there. Reidy looking. How did you find double game week 33? Because a lot of the premium captains failed to deliver.
I mean, it's always the case with the double, isn't it? Like teams playing each other, knowing what defenders to kind of go for, because you go in, well, I want my attackers to do well, but then how do I end up with clean sheets? I do want to get a defender really that's got an attacking potential, so at least I've got that potential upside. Everything was all done and dusted, bar probably Palace players who come into that Arsenal game actually after being terrible against, was it City, Newcastle? Can't think of the other team that they played, but they've just been really bad. So really, all the players like the likes of City, who else really? Like City, maybe a bit of Arsenal. Actually, Trossard obviously needs a mention, because anyone who went Trossard, and even anyone who went Trossard and captained him, unbelievable. The standout player in terms of double game week picks, who neither of us went for. So like I say, most of it was done on the like first games that were played at the double. A little bit from Mateta in the Arsenal game, and then also similar with Villa players in the Villa City game. So not underwhelming, because there were still some big scores, but obviously I played AM, you played bench boost. I do know there were some absolute disastrous bench boosts, like really bad ones. Some record bench boosts, I think, in terms of being bad. So all in all, biggest double game week, I guess, of the season.
Yeah.
Not bad, eh?
Yeah, I think that might be the case till season's end, to be fair. Now, what we haven't had a chance yet is to say hello to everyone. And, well, as always, Colm, thank you very much for joining alongside. Unfortunately, I did not meet a Fulham player this week, so I can't really correspond that to you. Beneath. Smith Rose as fast as it's going to go. Gary, good evening to you. 1 point needed for title number 20. Reidy is all over. 5-2 prediction, Reidy. Yes to Liverpool. Cortex, good evening to you as well. Thank you so much, as always, for joining. I'm an official Prem corner flag. I mean, like, I could well be if there's uni students asking for my services. I should start charging. Like, that Reidy's comment the other week about charging people for their appearance fees, especially from Robert Hollis and the Yellow Army.
Oh, yeah, mate. Get the patron set up and, you know what I mean, get that paywall going, mate. Get these uni students, they'll be queuing up in no time.
I'm just trying to figure out a creative name if it's not OnlyFans. Yeah, best for me not to go there. Colm, I'm reading in Mbumo for Eze this game week for the last few games of the season. Honestly, do not blame me. He has been a star this season, Brian Mbumo, probably one of the best valued assets in the game. Really good one for you here. Best forward to buy, if not on a free hit this week.
Oh, God. As soon as I read the question, my mind kind of automatically went to, who do you buy that a free hitter would buy? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, who do you basically want that people are going to be going for? Best forward to buy. I mean, there's probably not only one. That's the thing about this week. I mean, there's some forwards with great fixtures. Isak, Cunha, Jimenez. That's just to name but a few. Colm's put in the comments there, Wissa. Oh, there we go. So Cortex has said, I brought in Wissa betting against Cunha. So, you know, you can take a punt. You can kind of think, oh, I don't want to go for some of these template guys, especially people who are free hitting. But Wissa's one of them forwards that if you've had him all season, or if you had him for a lot of the season, he's done pretty well. He has done pretty well. So, I mean, Forest play FA Cup semi-final this weekend. You never know if that goes, to penalties, things like this. Forest have then got that game against Brentford on Thursday, and Brentford might fancy themselves. So I don't think Wiss is a bad pick at all. He's definitely got to be mentioned. But as I say, there's 3 there that I've just named, and possibly 1 or 2 more that you'd be looking at.
Yeah, no, great discussion point on all the forwards. I think especially for people on the free hit this week, you can sort of select whoever you want, and the budget too. It's just so much. It's what I call an unlimited budget, even though there's a limited budget, but you just have so much spare million in the bank. Right, public league very quickly, and I have decided to keep track of this league because there's a bit of change in the market landscape and the ladder. Tom Stone's just back on top, but Natalie has done superb. So is Steve during the week. I mean, Bill Stewart, a good run for our money. 9 points separates the top 4. Oh, God, I can't wait for the last few weeks to tune in to see how that transpires. Right, Reidy, you mentioned it briefly. FA Cup semi-finals, huge because we've got Man City and then 3 sides who are all but unfamiliar at this stage of a certain cup competition. You could talk about it from an FPL or football consensus. What would your best possible outcome be from the 2 games?
Oh, I mean, best possible outcome, I guess. I mean, maybe people who obviously are free hitting. If you've already got City and you've already got Villa, you'd be hoping that those 2 teams go through. Because we'd potentially get that double then. Game week 36, it does mean a blank in 37 though. So, it's then, how do I juggle that? But I feel like that would be most people's favoured outcome just because, people have loaded up on those players based on the double game week in 33. So, yeah, I mean, my personal sort of what I would like to be the final, I'd love it to be either Villa v Forest or Palace v Forest. I'd like it to be one of those. I'm trying to think now. Yeah, it is City. So yeah, one of those 2 do me. I don't want City getting there. It'd just be nice, like we've had with Newcastle, although they beat ourselves, to win the League Cup. We win the league. Someone else wins the FA Cup. And it's just more refreshing, right? I mean, we don't want to see the same teams winning it. All the same competitions every year, do we? And you boys in the Champions League as well, of course, Chaza. So,
Yeah, it is quite big. I think from other discussion points outside of that, because that is quite big heading into a gaming such as this, has there been any particular standout discussion points? Because all this information we've got in the gaming coming up, we've kind of known about it for a good while. Is that fair sentiment?
Yeah, we knew that this was going to be a blank game week, and we always kind of can check the dates, what they're going to be. The hard part is predicting which teams are going to end up in that sort of space. So, and who's going to blank and so on, and where it's going to get moved to and stuff like that. We've had a couple of surprises this season with Liverpool Villa being moved and stuff, but when we had the Liverpool Everton game being called off because of the weather. So we had a couple of things that have changed the landscape, but generally, like we say, I think people have specifically saved the free hit for this game week, knowing that it would be a blank.
Yeah, that's right. So just looking at the articles during the week, because we've both had quite busy weeks, still trying to catch up ourselves. So a win for Aston Villa over Crystal Palace in the semi-final would increase the chance of more blank and double game weeks. Villa defeat the Eagles. Their game week 37 match against Spurs needs to be allocated a new date. Secondly, the Spurs have reached Europa League semi-finals, 2-leg that is, 1st of May, and the returning leg a week later. If Spurs overcome their opponents and such, Their game against Villa would not be able to be rescheduled for midweek of Game Week 37 because this is when the Europa League final was meant to be played on Wednesday, the 21st of May. So because they're unable to play it that weekend or in midweek, they'd have to move it to another double game week. But there is a chance that no blanks or doubles occur, depending if the outcomes get flipped. So,
yeah. It's not a foregone conclusion as of yet. Obviously, what's the word I want to use? Like the success, but obviously they've not won anything yet. In terms of Arsenal, Man United, Spurs, Villa to an extent, obviously before they got knocked out by PSG, but so many English teams and Chelsea. Chelsea who are in the Europa Conference and stuff. So many English teams doing well, in Europe and stuff, which is essentially having an effect then on fixtures in the league and so on. So we'll see what happens, what the outcomes are of FA Cup, and what the outcomes are of the Europa League as well with Spurs. I mean, Spurs play Bodø Glimt and Man United with Bilbao. So, it's probably not been mentioned. I mean, I don't know if you follow Norwegian football, Chaza, but Bodø Glimt, there's a bit of background and a bit of almost like success story behind them. Norwegian team. I think they've not started their season until recently. So when they were playing Europe, they obviously had that advantage. There's so many different factors about them that like a team like that shouldn't be doing well, at that level. Do you know what I mean? So that in itself is another achievement. I think they've only been in Europe so many times and stuff like that. So people probably thinking, oh, well, Spurs should win that game quite easily. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it might actually end up being a tough game for them. So they've got to really be on it. So in regards to the Premier League this weekend against Liverpool, I think there might be a bit of rotation on that side. Also maybe for Manchester United too, but yeah.
Great shout there. Cortex said logical answer is City against Villa in the final. Fair enough, but love it to be Forest against Villa. If Villa gets moves, surely the winner of the other semi will get moves as well. For fairness, I think that is also a fair shout too. Well pointed out from Colm. What I've noticed about sides, just quickly, who at the end of double game week 33 have packed in with Arsenal, City, Palace, Villa assets, which is pretty much what I've done. They've all got brilliant plum home fixtures in game week 35. I mean, pretty much everyone's away in game week 36.
Everyone's away.
Everyone's away in 36. Yeah, outside of Mo Salah, who's at home. Yeah, that's it. Wow. I know. It's so interesting how all of the relevant sides just have got home games straight after what we probably call this a big free hit sort of week. Right, quick check on the Women's League. Mira is still absolutely smashing it this season, leading by 28 points against and then slowly followed by Julia. Mira, it was supporting you along the way, especially as someone who has got deported from Australia 5 months ago, going for it, honestly. And then I ended up in this country, which I don't want to swear, but it's a bit of an asshole sometimes. No, I don't mind it. It's all good. But
yeah, it's interesting to say the least, Chaza. But you love it, mate, deep down. And, you're always doing something. You're always busy. You're doing Ironmans. I mean, you can't keep up. Chaza. Well, you just chill and, go watch a film or something.
I don't think it has not been a chill kind of season. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, speaking about who the more chilled person is out of these two, let's talk about the right back situation. You got a better reading on this because Trent came off the bench, scored, took his shirt off, all went madness at King Power, fighting against Connor Bradley for his game time. What is the narrative you're believing, and what do you believe might occur? Because Liverpool are quite relevant for those on a free hit this week.
The Trent situation, and then obviously like Bradley's there as well. Not really to talk about the celebrations and the whole is he staying, is he going? Obviously that raised a few eyebrows. But Slot, I nearly said Klopp then. Slot himself said in the presser, obviously he wants Bradley to play more games and things like that. He's only started so many this season, but then again, he's got Trent there, who's more than likely first choice, really. But then there's that thing of, is Trent going to end up going? So in relation to FPL on this weekend, it's a 50-50, on who starts. What I will say is that more than likely, one of these players will not play the full 90 and will get taken off. Whether that be pre-60, whether that be afterwards, we don't know. But it's difficult. It really is difficult. I mean, if Trent's back and he's fully fit and he's training, things like that, you'd be expecting him to start, especially with us needing the point to get the league title. So I do think Trent would be a great pick on the free hit. I think if he is leaving, I'd love to be picking him on a free hit. But it's just, do you want that minute's risk and, end up with, say, Spurs score, end up with no clean sheet and no attacking return? So it is tough, mate, because the budget's there, but are the minutes and is the return there? So it's a tough one.
I think
how are you feeling? Well, I guess thinking to that is how do you feel about that situation? In terms of going for him all.
I can still be unclear at times. However, ultimately, looking into this game week, I believe Trent starts. That's all. It's so strange with FPL players because you really just care about whose minutes are more secure. I was talking about this to a dissertation student the other day about how psychological behaviours change so quickly. You only care about who gets the secure minutes, not necessarily what's happening to them next season. It's as simple as that. So I think Trent starts. It's Coronation Day pretty much in Anfield on Sunday. Like, it's going to happen.
Yeah. It does feel like that. I mean, my own sort of look at it is that, and there'll be many Liverpool fans with, different opinions maybe or similar opinions, is that, 1 point is nothing. 1 point is a draw and you're going, surely, they can get at least the draw. But I think there will be nerves. The fact that you're going, we do need a point. So, we don't want to lose the game and then have to go to Chelsea, win it at Chelsea, and then it's like, it's not actually in front of our home crowd, at Anfield and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's difficult because the return game earlier on the season, there was a bit more on the line. It was like, fresher legs maybe, better, in terms of like how we were playing was better. The game ended 6-3. Don't know if actually wait there. That was the game you were at, Chaza, right?
I was, yes.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, so you know full well what that game was like. And 6-3, 9 goals. That was Mo Salah, 21 points, 2 goals, 2 assists, big haul. I don't feel like it's going to be that type of game. But then again, it's football. You never know. So I'm hoping it's a good game and we score loads of goals and this, that, and the other. But the way we've been playing the last probably few games where we've not looked great, we've not looked quite on it. We managed to get the goal at the end against Leicester. I just feel like it'll be a 2-0, something like that. Would you agree, or do you think we'll?
Yeah, I would agree. Simple as that. Yeah. I just think Reds will take it easy after they get their 1 or 2 goals. Simple as that. Marcello, as always, thank you very much for joining. Good evening to you. Big game for Palace. We'll be at Wembley. Good on you. Well done. You got a couple of doubts as well. Trippier, Kluivert, Cunha, the doubts my current 11 at the moment on free hit. In fairness, I've always doubted my own fantasy football team. So, fair play to you. I was going to say Pokemon Master, but that's very 2016 of me. That's one person we haven't discussed. Just before transfers, we need a brief word on Jamie Vardy, because did that come as a surprise? Him leaving Leicester City at the end of the season, or probably the right time to do so?
I don't think so. I mean, he's 38 now, right? He's not a spring chicken. What's funny about that?
He's not a spring chicken.
He's not a spring chicken. He's not quick out. He's quick out the blocks these days, and playing in a team like he has been this season. With Leicester, we know how terrible they've been. They've been relegated. There's been no service for him like there has been in the past. I mean, look at some of the players he's played with: Kante, Mahrez. Like, and I say this, don't mean as in like amazing, but all bright, and like obviously the title winning Leicester and some of the players they had, and yeah, it's a shame, I guess. Like obviously for Leicester fans more so that it's ended the way it has. He's a chicken going a bit smelly, yeah, he probably is, but yeah, it's the right time, I guess. But he's been great in the Premier League. Listen, don't get me wrong. I think he's been fantastic for the Premier League. Obviously, fantasy-wise, he's definitely been in my team over the years, and I had a few returns. But yeah, time to go, Chaza. I mean, you're a spring chicken, so to speak. What do you think the difference is between? Do you think you'll be doing an ultra marathon or Ironman at bloody 38? You never know, mate. Your body might have broken down.
Yeah. And you've got to count your lucky stars each day. I'd like to hope so, but who knows the future.
But he's bowing out a Premier League winner. You know what I mean? He's won the Premier League. He won is it Charity Shield? They've won a cup as well. It's not all bad, is it?
No, it's not as bad as Harry Kane's trophy, which consists of an Audi Cup he won in pre-season.
There we go.
Well, just speak of the devil. Cortex, well played there. He read my mind to perfection, to say the least. Right, we're talking about players. Best ones to bring in. It's transfer market. A lot of traffic going on. Any particular surprises?
Free hit, isn't it? So I guess surprises. I do think if I had to pick one, I am surprised that Chris Wood is in there, especially the fact that his missus could be giving birth at any minute. You know what I mean? That's some serious sort of info and research that needs to be accounted for in terms of if you are going to pick him this week. Plus, as well, he's got a semi-final, as we were saying about Forest before. Will he be 100% then fit for Brentford on Thursday? The deadline comes before Forest play, in the FA Cup. So it is a risk, in my opinion. I think it is a bit risky going for Chris Wood. Would you agree, Chaza, or do you think he's a good pick this week? Maybe
I personally believe he's a good pick. Yeah, alongside Brian and Bruno. Now, what do you notice about his fixture difficulty ranking? I'm glad you touched on this player. Did you notice a difference during the week?
Yeah. So, have they changed it lately, FPL?
Yes, they have. For the first time in about 6 seasons, we've finally seen an FDR 1 for the sides who've now been already relegated and their opponents of such. Alongside Spurs and Man United fixtures, they've been reduced from an FDR of 3 to 2.
Yeah. So, 3 hasn't got a colour, has it? Like, it's just a bit.
It never has.
It's just the grey. But the 1 is very, bold green. You can't miss that, so to speak. So, yeah, it's definitely interesting. But yeah, I mean, I think Wood for me is a bit of a surprise, given that we've mentioned some strikers. People are going for Wissa. I do think Wissa's based on form at the minute, and Chris Wood's only just come back. Obviously, Wissa's a better pick. Plus, also Brentford have 12 days off, before they play that game against Forest. So for me, I'd be going Wissa over Wood, personally.
Okay.
If you're not on free hit, so say you want to go free hit. So let's have a look. So this weekend, let's have a look. So they play Thursday. Say you're on free hit. We've mentioned you could go for Wood or Wissa. If you're not on free hit and you want to bring one in long term, would you still favour Wood over Wissa?
No.
Because Brentford's fixtures are after Forest, Man United at home, Ipswich, Fulham, Wolves. Decent fixtures, right?
Very good.
To see the season. And I know you got Forest up before. They play Palace away, then it's Leicester, which is a good fixture. West Ham away, and then Chelsea at home, last game of the season. That's going to be potentially a huge game. If they're still competing for Champions League places like it is at the minute, it's so tight. That last game of the season could be massive in terms of who qualifies and stuff like that. But yeah, in terms of the outgoings, Chaza, any surprises?
I wouldn't think so. It's great to see a bit of love now for Harvey Barnes, actually, who's in fifth, 7.5%. He has been dominating it recently. He's had returns in the last 6 game weeks.
He's like the new Eden Hazard of the Premier League, isn't he? I mean,
yes.
The dribbling, the finishing. Question though, do Barnes and Murphy start again tomorrow?
I think I do. Yeah. I mean,
how can you Eddie's back now from the hospital. You know, he's all good, and you know he's taken over the reins back again from Tyndall, who's messed it up and got spanked by Villa 4-1. So we think we're going to go with the Barnes Murphy again. Okay, fair dues, mate. Fair dues.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's interesting. Marcello's reckon there's a minute's risk. Cortex. Hey. Cortex got a feeling. Howe loves Gordon. He does. If Howe loves Gordon, Jason Tyndall loves facing the media. Let's say that. Fair?
Yeah. There we go.
That's how it is. And he also loves the Newcastle photos in the change room at full time. Transfers, yeah, that's kind of gone over it.
It was always going to be with the blank game week this week that all the outgoings are the ones that, you know, all the players are blanking. Do you know what I mean? I mean, João Pedro on there because people are just like, you know, get this guy gone ASAP because he's suspended for, 3 games, is it?
Oh, yeah. Why would you go there now?
You know, so that's a given. Plus the fixtures are terrible, you know, so, yeah.
Right.
Speaking of fixtures.
Here we are. Biggest blank game week, I think, so far. But a 3-day break after Sunday's game. Doesn't end until Thursday evening, as you mentioned earlier. Any standout fixture for you?
Standout fixture, I would say. I'm trying to pick one that's decent. I feel like I should be just saying Liverpool Spurs as the standout because the league is literally there. I'm going to pick. Yeah, I'm going to go Liverpool Spurs. I can't help myself. I'm sorry, Chaza. For me, standout fixture because people are going, well, Liverpool are going to win the league. And yeah, Liverpool Spurs traditionally been good games. I think we've done the double over Spurs. I think it's like quite a few times now, as in the league double over them. 5 out of the last 7 or something like that. You know, so we enjoy playing Tottenham. Probably a lot of teams do, especially if you're an Arsenal fan. Apparently, there's a song about Spurs and everywhere they go. But we'll save that for another time. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that game. Hopefully, we just get over the line, get it done. And, yeah, that's a standout. I think for FPL-wise, I mean, Mo Salah's probably, at the moment, without me going on a ramble on about with the players to pick the free hit, Mo Salah's the most nailed player, so I imagine he'll be in every free hit team.
Yeah. I think stand out for me, it's not easy to select, but Newcastle Ipswich, mainly to see which players start, how Eddie Howe sets up, especially on the wieners, where we just mentioned just moments ago. So that's
what's the most dud game in your opinion? What's a game where you go, yeah, it's just going to be a bit crap?
Which game? Well, I think a lot have free hit relevance. Maybe this game is just not getting enough love. I don't know why. Brighton, West Ham. Like, both sides are just,
yeah, go on.
They're just ordinary at the moment.
Yeah, they're not. You know, they've not been great. Obviously, Brighton have got suspension, injuries. Ruta, João Pedro. You know, missing Van Heck. Was it Van? Someone anyway, injured. And yeah, for me though, it's Chelsea-Everton. I mean, that's big. That's a big game for Chelsea, actually, because they need to win that game for Champions League. Everton got nothing to play for, but have been solid defensively. They've obviously just lost James Tarkowski there with a hamstring injury. Looks, he's done for the season. But yeah, David Moyes has kind of like re-galvanised them and just made them much, much better than what they were under Dice. So I do feel like, though, that's got the ability to be like a 1-0 or a 0-0. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Brighton, West Ham, each team is so crap. It could be anything. Anything could happen in that game. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I definitely, if I had to call a game behind the one I've mentioned, I would say Brighton, West Ham.
Yeah. Right. Fixtures done and sorted.
Yeah.
I'm sort of thinking we just crack onto our sides. Or have I missed anything? Probably not, right?
Well, we didn't look at last week's the Game Week 33 in terms of the scores. What the scores were, I guess. But we did go over the points. In terms of players' returns in our teams and things like that. So I guess that kind of covers it. I mean, if I can tell, Chaza, you're chomping at the bit. You want to go straight into this free hit, and yeah.
Well, just because you said so, you can count your lucky stars. Because if you want to, we'll go over them very briefly. Couple of minutes, whichever ones you want to go over, Reidy. Help yourself.
Okay, all right, fair enough. I obviously need to look at the fact that Villa absolutely pumped Newcastle 4-1. I think that was probably a result that surprised people because Newcastle have been great lately. They've been battering teams. Man United, they beat 4-1, I think it was. They were on a really hot streak, and then Villa just kind of... I think Villa was on the back of the Champions League exit as well, right? So people were kind of thinking, Villa's players, tired legs. But yeah, Watkins came in, didn't he? He's not been too happy about not playing, I should say, lack of minutes in the Champions League. He got a return, goal and assist. Rodgers on the returns. So yeah, 4-1 against Newcastle. Was not expecting that, mate. You'd agree, yeah?
I would agree, yeah, but it's probably a sort of game that Villa would simply be up for, especially with that home environment. Yeah, Watkins goes really well against Newcastle at home. So,
yeah.
Not
in terms of a surprise, I know we talked about bench boost earlier, actually. That was one of the bench boosts, actually, in terms of people having Newcastle players. But there was another certain team that looked like they were on for a clean sheet, and then it was ruined right near the end, and also ruined people's bench boosts.
This one.
That is the one, indeed. I don't know how you say his name. You can have a go with that if you want, Chaza. But yeah, Titty Man, clean sheet was gone. Areola, right near the end. Great finish as well, by the way. And, people who went for the likes of, I think, Wan-Bissaka was out injured. So I don't know whether people had any of the players. I mean, if you had Bowen like yourself, obviously 9-pointer, you'd be happy with that. But yeah, clean sheet, eh? We didn't expect Southampton to score. But they did.
No, we didn't. And yeah, it was a bit devastating blow back. But yeah, that's a West Ham game. So
any games for you that, you kind of, whether you watch them, highlights, or you just kind of think, decent score-ish. I mean, there was a lot that kind of you would have predicted the outcome, but there was also
this summed up Arsenal's season. But not only that, I am in love with Mateta. What a goal that was! The equaliser, scoring out stunner off the bench, and getting maximum bonus. Eze back on the score sheet. So no, that was fair.
Yeah. Fair play. Yeah. And that's a wrap on Game Week 33.
Yeah, we don't really waste much time on that front. So, because that's a past, time to look on the future. And Game Week 34, I think it is now.
Yes, mate, yes.
Would you like to go first, or would you like me to? I do not mind. Or we go rev system. I know, but he's bottom. He'll go first. Then you got to do that. Make sure you don't copy him.
Oh, no, yeah. Jesus Christ. Do you know what? I'll go first, yeah. I'll go first. Because, I mean, obviously there's a few players in this free hit draft that are nailed. And there's places that are up for debate. And that's the thing about the free hit. It gets you thinking. If anything, it gets you overthinking. So my free hit, if you want to bring it up on the screen, Chaza, I think I've
got it. Yes.
It's currently looking like this. If you look in terms of what's in the bank, 2.7. We know we've got plenty of cash, right? And that's how I'm kind of set up. I mean, you look at that bench and you go in, Jesus Christ. I mean, there's how much sat on that bench? 10.6. Trent is what? 7.2. Oh my God. It's like 17.8 million. Crazy. But I'm pretty certain I'm going to triple up on the Newcastle attack. I don't want to be going for like a Pope 6-pointer and things like that. That could be any score that game if Newcastle are in the mood. At St. James's as well, going for Champions League. And I know people are saying, like, I noticed a couple of people in the chat. I think it was Cortex and Marcello as well, saying minutes risks for the Newcastle. Gordon could be back in. I mean, I agree to an extent, but based on what I've seen lately, I don't know if I want to take the risk on Gordon. I think similar, even if he does start, Barnes is there or Murphy's there to come off the bench. It could be 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, and they could easily do some damage. So Bumo, obviously I'm suffering from a bit of hindsight and a bit of pain on that one, aren't I, Chaza? Taking him out of my team. And I'm probably going for him just maybe more so because of ownership. Similar with Salah, and also Salah I'm going to go for anyway because we are playing Spurs. And then these front two, Jimenez, we've had the presser from Silva to say that Muniz is out. That basically gives the green light for Jimenez to be starting and maybe playing more minutes in that game also. Ryan Sessegnon's been great lately. I fancy that as outside punt or whatever. He's come up with the points and he's been getting decent minutes lately. And I think Silva did refer to Harry Wilson needing minutes and coming back in. But I feel like Sessegnon's still there to start. Nori's going to be the flavour of the week. I think everyone's going to be going for him. Feels pretty standard or template. Cunha, there is a question mark over him, or is there? He's played 20 minutes against Spurs, got a return, played the night against United, obviously got an assist there and bonus. I'm going to go for him. I don't think there's any doubt in terms of my front three. It's going to be these three. Strand Larsen's a potential pick. He could go over Cunha. And then double up on Bournemouth defence. I feel like United are going to have their minds on other things. Obviously, the game against Bilbao's not going to be an easy one. Probably the tougher draw if you had to go on paper. So at the moment, I'd probably say there's these two positions up for debate. Maybe. Other than that, I feel like the rest of the team is picked. I might end up putting Trent in for Kirkers, and I might end up going with Alisson instead of Kepa. So we will see, mate. But that's where the matter free hit at the moment.
I like it. Nice stuff. Bit of flip flopping around. It's good to see. And while you did yours, I kind of flip flopped in the background. Two. Nice one. Here we go. This is how we're kind of looking. Now, I know he died this week, but he's in goal.
Well, yeah, back from the dead, the resurrection of Pope.
A good one from you, man, Reidy.
So going for the old Nick Pope in goal. Interesting.
Well, yeah, it was Leno just about 30 seconds ago. But Trent, Robbo, Adenori, Bumo, yeah, Barnes, I just reckon he's a fair pick. Salah captain, very standard. Vanilla from an ice cream shop. I'm going to Wavy because I think this team needs a bit of personality about them, and I think he would bring it.
Okay, fair. Yeah, it's slightly different. Bit of Chris Wood in there as well. And how much are we talking in the bank? You must have some money left there, Chaza.
Oh, I love this week. 7.8 left.
Jesus. And so you're not fancying Cole Palmer on field this week?
He was in there. I'm just not convinced by his form at all.
Is that a Southampton player you've got on the bench?
Yeah, Dibbling, just because why not? And I'm putting my budget.
Jesus Christ, mate. Jesus Christ. And who else is on the bench?
Kirkes and Michael King.
Well, Mike. Hey, I feel like you've picked the main team, and then just done one of those, like, what was it, like, random thingies where it's picked your bench for you. What the hell, mate? Like, is that Ariola as well?
Yeah, might be, yeah.
Jesus Christ, Chaza. That is definitely like the most can't be arsed bench I've ever seen on a free hit.
That's my point with free hit, mate. Just put all the budget in the 11, despite there's about 8 million left. I was
about to say, yeah. You like, at least with mine, I've got Palmer, Trent, Cucurella, and Leno on the bench. I mean, it'll be a really sad story if they all end up returning and hauling, obviously. But I mean, what can you do on free hit? You can only pick 11, can't you? So
yeah. That's all right. Now, who's joined into our conversation this evening? Vine, as always, good morning to you. Had to check a time slot. And thank you, as always, for your support and tuning in. Marcello, I mean, he's on. Yeah, you're not wrong. Now, Sessegnon's an interesting one. Should start if he hasn't got a niggle after coming off last game week, but I can't see Silva pushing Harry Wilson straight back in.
Yeah, so... Yeah, on that, now, Colm can correct me here, but I seen something or heard something, whichever it was. Obviously, both if I'm watching it. But apparently, Sessegnon came off accidentally. Now, there was an issue with the number or something. They were making a change. Silva's not been paying attention. He was talking to another player that was due to come on or something. And he actually wasn't meant to come off. Now, I don't know whether this is true or not. But that's, as I say, what I've heard. So, yeah, I mean, I think Sessegnon was actually meant to stay on. But by this point, he'd already come off the pitch. I think the player who was coming on, which maybe would have been Traore, had already entered the pitch, so they couldn't make the change or change it back. So, yeah, Colm, you'll have to let me know if that's true or someone's chatting absolute BS. But, yeah, I like the Sessegnon pick, and I think he'll probably start again. But Robinson's a solid pick, right? Robinson's been great this season, minutes-wise, assists and things like that. And he's probably the more reliable pick than Sessegnon would be, I would say.
Colm, you raised a really good point. Not on that, but also on this too. He's coming off before he gets injured. Yeah, probably Dibbling from Southampton.
That's what I mean. Like, you're going risky there, Chaz. I mean, for Wood, and imagine he gets injured in the cup, doesn't play against Brentford, and you end up with Dibbling.
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Dibbling. Oh my God.
I need to talk a bit.
Plenty of time for you to change that bench though, Chaza.
Oh, yeah. Right, one last thing to do, I reckon, that is captaincy. You keen for some cracking options?
Outside of Salah and Isak?
Mate, I've got a few. Don't you dare butcher this segment outside of the original standing cast of 2. Right, okay. Welcome back to another edition, and we've got more viewers than would have anticipated. In fact, we've doubled our live viewership in a matter of weeks. Salah has scored his best single game week return this season in the reverse fixture against Spurs, it being 21 points. He's the top scoring player on average at home, with an averaging 8.3 points per game. It's been a long day if you can't tell. Alexander Isak at home to Ipswich. He scored a hat-trick in the reverse fixture. I didn't like that day because I didn't own him. There's recency bias for you. In addition, average 7.3 points per home start this season. He's already matched Mo Salah's goal tally from home games, it being 11 goals, just 2 less assists than him. Furthermore, the Tractor Boys are in the bottom 5 ranked for most chances conceded on average through the course of their games. Mateus Cunha He's blanked just once in his last 6 league appearances. Within that time, he took a gap year of his own, which is a 3-game suspension. Since having returned from suspension, he's returned with a goal and 2 assists. Plus, he scored in the reverse fixture at the King Power, a venue in which Leicester still haven't scored a goal there since December, and yet they still haven't sacked their manager. Alex Iwobi, the Nigerian dancer, but will he have the answer at St. Mary's? Returns from him against the Liverpool and the Chelsea took him to 144 fantasy points, which has marked him having his best fantasy campaign in his career. In addition, this is a crazy stat. He's 60 shots and 52 chances created this season. He's ranked second across all Fulham players, underlining his potential in that he really should have more returns this season. That's all for Captain's Corner. Pick wisely or do the dangerous thing in life, and that is play safe. Back to the studio. Set me free for my jealousy. There you go.
I feel like there was a opportunity that missed there, Chaza.
Look, missed opportunities every week. That's just kind of me. So,
rhythm is a dancer. Iwobi has the answer.
Bam!
You can get points for free.
Look at you go. Love it. Joe. I think I need to do it after pod. Put Kirkes first on bench. Spot on. That's it. Quick song. Marcello, thanks as always for tuning in. Dibbling.
Yeah, I mean, you're going a bit risky, maybe a bit spicy, with this free hit. It might work out. I feel like mine's a bit more templatey, I guess, but I feel like there's a dilemma regardless of what you do. You know what I mean? You're always going to end up benching points or missing out. You just got to go with the best 11, haven't you?
That's correct.
Best of the best of the best, sir.
Yeah, that's it. All right, that does it for this episode. Nice, short and sharp. I got something to prepare for tomorrow. It's been a big week, but I thought, really good engagement tonight. Really appreciate everyone tuning in, and Reidy, thanks as always for devoting some of your time.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, short, sharp, like you say. I mean, I was keen for a deadline stream tomorrow, but obviously you've got other commitments and ideas and on whatever else you're doing. So best of luck, mate. Enjoy it tomorrow.
Thanks.
And have a great Saturday, and hopefully we get some decent returns in FPL, right? I mean, as long as I stay above you, that's all that matters, Chaza.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding, mate. I love you.
Yeah, Ripper. Cheers. All right, catch you next week for Game Week 35. It's a very short turnaround that will be too. Who knows when that stream back could be. But as a guarantee, we'll be here. Till then, catch you on the other side. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the FA Cup for Forest, Villa. Palace fans couldn't really care less on Man City. They're there every year. It's a banker, Gary Neville would say on his meme videos. Till then, catch ya. Yeehaw!